on drug pricing. A few hours ago, Donald Trump signed a new executive order he claims will, quote, almost immediately bring down the cost of prescription drugs. Americans should hold their applause because...
And on the mission.
It's going to have to pay a little bit more, and America's going to pay a lot less. For the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs, and we will bring fairness to America. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying the lowest price, that's the price that we're going to get.
Hi there. Welcome to the Reaction Radar. Today has been a very, very busy day. Boy, do we have a lot in store. President Trump did a lot for today. He got China to lower the tariffs. He's working on getting lower prescription for us in the United States. And there's other stuff on here, but it's so juicy and delicate. I want you guys to hear it and see it if you haven't already. But with any further ado, let's just jump right into this right now.
It's Republican President Donald Trump who's the peacemaker.
I think good things can come out of that meeting. Stop the bloodshed of the horrible, it's a bloodbath. They're not American soldiers, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine, but they're people. They're human souls, and they're being killed at levels that we haven't seen since the Second World War. We're working very hard to see if we can end that bloodbath.
Trump 2.0 is acting like an administration operating almost on borrowed time. What do I mean by that? They all know that their window for making real change in Washington is narrow, and Trump's a man on a mission. Issues that other presidents ignored or even made worse, he's diving into them, straight into them, like resetting our global trade relationships, especially with China. But Trump's team met over the weekend with the Chinese, and both sides right now see a path forward. For at least the next 90 days, tariffs are coming down significantly. But can we really trust that China's going to change its ways?
Yeah, I think they're going to follow through. I think they want it very badly. I think they want the deal very badly. Again, this doesn't include the steel tariffs that I put on a long time ago that Biden tried to get off, but he couldn't get them off because it was too much money. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, what a lot of people don't know, but we put on the tariffs originally. And if I didn't do that, we wouldn't have a steel industry today. Now we have a thriving steel industry. It'll be thriving much more with what we're doing because this is the next level.
Well, we know this. Wall Street liked what it saw. The stock market jumped more than 1,100 points today. More on this with Jamison Greer.
Wow, I remember everybody was talking about the stock that, oh my God, it's crashing. The dollar's going to go down. You know, went right through the roof. And one thing you have to understand is you wanted to remodel something, right? A home, a car, whatever. It has to go through some changes. Those changes does not look pretty all the time because you're basically stripping something down or you're tearing it apart to expose the bare bones or the material of it, right? Then you start building, then you get the oohs and the ahs, the beauty of whatever it is that you're restoring, and this is what this is. So when he was talking about it and laying out the foundation, it was basically ripping it apart, and people are like, oh my God, oh no, man, it's so scary. But look at the results that's happening. Now, also keep in mind that this tariffs right now is only for 90 days, right? This is not set in stone just yet, so it's going to be revisited. But they dropped down to, I think like 10%. And we're charging them 30%. Like President Trump has said before, it's about us. We've been paying them all this time that, it's time to pay the piper back now,
The U.S. trade rep who was in the negotiations in a few minutes, now helping to prevent a nuclear war between India and Pakistan.
We helped also with trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India. We're negotiating with India right now. We're going to be soon negotiating with Pakistan. And we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war.
Again, could Biden or Harris have exerted any of this pressure? They wouldn't even know where to start. And their answer would have been something like, we're going to convene the UN Security Council for a meaningless vote on this. Now, finally, perhaps the most important move by Trump today was against the obscene prices Americans pay for prescription drugs versus the rest of the world. Pharma's probably going to take him to court over this, but if this executive order survives legal scrutiny, get ready to save a lot of money. More on this coming up with FDA Commissioner Marty Makary.
Oh, yeah.
But all of these big issues, taxes, deregulation, the cost of living, energy, the border, the pursuit of peace, the push for more investment in manufacturing in America. Look, Trump is firing on all cylinders. Not everything may work out.
You know, everything that President Trump has said so far when he was on the first campaign is what he's doing, you know, and that is putting us, the United States, first. Okay? Again, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, the left or the right, right? You have to give credit where credit is due. This man said that this is what he's going to do, and he came out swinging. This is exactly what he's doing, you know, so.
Not everything is always supported by a majority in Congress. But no one, and I mean no one, can doubt that we have a president who is trying with everything he has, pushing his staff 24/7, and he pushes them, to deliver results for the American people. Just think of where we were a year ago. The contrast could not be clearer.
Now let's get into this other video. If you like what you see so far, please consider dropping a like, subscribe, and drop a comment for me. Also, you know, let's get into this. Tell me what your reactions are, your thoughts, you know, whatever you want to drop in the comment line. Let's go. Let's get into this.
Paid by other developed countries. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary joins us now. It is great to see you, sir. So glad to have you on this day. Let me start with this, because the president said we're going to get other countries, other developed countries, to pay more so U.S. consumers don't have to pay overpriced prices for drugs. How do you get other countries to pay, doctor?
Well, Brian, great to see you. And that's right. This is a historic day in healthcare. For the first time, we're seeing somebody who's willing to take the bull by the horns right here from the White House. And so we are going to see some common sense reforms where other countries that have been getting incredible sweetheart deals where they're paying 5 or 10% of what Americans are paying for these drugs, that's going to end. These countries have been laughing at us for a long time. The president has said that he is asking pharma companies and the middlemen in healthcare that help inflate those prices to come to the table and come up with a solution so there's a level playing field. And if not, he is prepared to use the full regulatory and policy authority of the trade representative, of Medicare, and even at FDA, where I'm at. And the entire rest of the world contributes 30% of their profits, and that's because of this crazy outsized set of pricing, and it affects access to care, and it disproportionately affects poor and minority communities. When the prices are so high, they can't get access to these medications. So I think this reform is going to both increase the availability of these drugs and lower them for everyday Americans.
President Trump has been doing so much for us, you know, and today's been an extremely busy day. About no good deeds go unpunished. With that being said, you know, some folks refuse to put down the glass of haterade, and without any further ado, let's get into this one.
On drug pricing. A few hours ago, Donald Trump signed a new executive order he claims will, quote, almost immediately bring down the cost of prescription drugs. Americans should hold their applause because Donald Trump's announcement is little more than a photo op masquerading as reform. Just as he said he'd bring down costs on day one and it didn't happen, same thing here, almost immediately. Give me a break. In case Donald Trump has forgotten, this announcement is like what he already tried to do in 2020, with little success.
So, you know, of course, if you're getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical, why would you, Congress, want to pass and approve a bill, right? Because if President Trump is able to get the price lower, that means that the big companies not going to be paying you what they were paying you, right? And for argument's sake, because I know folks are probably going to be like, well, why did you pick on Charles? I'm sorry, Chuck, you know. Why'd you pick on him? Well, because he's the one that's talking about it. But without any further ado, take a look at this. You know, President Trump did a lot today. And, you know, why wouldn't the haters be out there not, you know, do what they do best, which is drink up all that haterade and start spewing lies, right? Now, I know some of you out there are going to be like, well, why did you pick on Charles, a.k.a. Chuck Schumer, right? He's the one that's running his mouth. He's talking about whatever. And, of course, you would be against whatever President Trump is doing. Why? Because, you know, you're getting a big kickback, right? And if President Trump is able to lower that price for us, the United States citizens, that means the big companies no longer going to be making as much money. If they don't make that much money, Congress is not going to get their cut they're getting. Now, this is from a website called Open Source. You can check it out. But right there we have Charles, a.k.a. Chuck, you know. You see that? Look at the number over here. See that? $1 million. Now let that sink in. Think about that for a second. Why wouldn't he be hating on President Trump and whatever Trump is saying or doing right now? You know, you formulate your opinion on that. Okay. Now, this another segment here is President Trump is receiving a plane, a 757, because the current Air Force One that they have, you know, it's time for an upgrade, but it's going to take a little while for them to get it. So another foreign official gave this to him. Now, why are you getting and doing this? But I love President's response. And like I said, this gentleman is so whippy with it. Okay. But this is a reporter that's going to be talking to him right now. And, well, you already know how President Trump is. This is a man that deserves no type of introduction. Let's get into it.
Say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you, why not leave it behind?
Your ABC fake news, man.
Why not?
It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. Then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense.
You see, there you go. The media's trying to spin. Oh, you personally got that, but he didn't get that for him. He got that for the United States. Well, the gift was given to the United States, right? Not to Trump. Right? To the president, yes, but not specifically to President Trump. So therefore, once he's out, whomever is the other president, they're going to have access to that, right? You know, so what are your thoughts on this? You know, if you like the show, as usual, please like, subscribe, drop a comment. And as usual, let me know how, you feel. What are your thoughts, reactions to this? And until we meet on the next one, please stay informed and engage. Have a good one.